Welcome to part 2 of Finding Yourself. If you missed part 1, make sure you check it out. I will link it in the description box below and at the top of your screen. On part 1, I covered the necessary steps and the foundations of what you need to have to build yourself in order to find who you really are as a person. So make sure you go through it before watching this one. And part 2 is about my journey of self-discovery and the mistakes I made at first trying to reach that. So without wasting more time, let's get on with the video. "Who are you?" said the caterpillar. Alice replied rather shyly, "I hardly know, sir, just at present. At least I know who I was when I got up this morning. But I think I must have been changed several times since then." That was a scene from Alice's Adventure in Wonderland. You see, at some point growing up, I was the person who would passively pass through every day. I went through the motions on autopilot. I was a passenger going through days, unable to see through what was causing me pain and resentment, which as a result somehow gave me an identity that outlined how I was viewing myself and the world. Fast forward to a few years ahead, I decided to take on the journey into discovering who I really am and what I truly seek the most. I set out to establish a purpose, to be conclusive, and to embrace the truth as best as I could. This journey involved seeking a lot of answers, including one of life's most substantial questions of human existence. Who am I, and how do I find my true self? I imagined the answers were to be found in whom I used to be. So I began collecting the residue of my past. I went investigating aspects of a life I once lived, examining each piece carefully, hoping for a thread that connects the past to the present. I eagerly wished to award my life some sort of unity and purpose. But the deeper I searched, the more lost I felt. I found that I was coldly lost beneath heavy layers of accumulated shattered hopes and demolished dreams. You see, throughout the journey of self-discovery, I learned that I could never truly lose myself because the self can't be constant and static, and that we learn something new each day and we filter it to fit our values and mindset. I realized that I was looking in the wrong place and that the past is not meant to build an identity upon. Instead, it's a place to reflect to in order to assess what we did to build a nice present. So the first thing I did was shaping my identity. Dr. Jordan Peterson said, "Start with yourself, take care of yourself, define who you are, refine your personality, choose your destination, and articulate your being." I didn't come across these words at the time, but in a way, it fit what I did. I began by asking myself what qualities I admire in a human being. This outlined an idealistic outcome for me to aspire to, an anti-idealistic outcome to steer away from. I started with the most important values and mental health habits that I wanted to live by, and then aimed at achieving them. This was done on my own terms, based on what an idealistic outcome looks like to me. I set things up as I needed them to be, and to be the person I wanted to reach. Time went by, and in serious consideration and will to reach that, I continually created new ideals to aspire towards and shape myself closer and closer to whom I wanted to be. And once these values and mindset and ideals slowly began to crystallize and take a form, it was time for me to burn off the deadwood. So what does that mean? Burning deadwood required asking myself a new set of questions at this point. What should I carry on with me in time, and what should I let go of? What is no longer aligned with the pursuits I find worthy? I remain aware of the fact that the more deadwood I burn off voluntarily, the less it gathered around me, the easier it was for me to move on. Dr. Jordan Peterson said in this context, and I quote, "As you burn off the deadwood, you shape yourself ever more precisely into something that can withstand the tragedy of life and act as a beacon to the world. So let the death of what is insufficient about you or around you occur, and then wait for your rebirth." In this case, the deadwood for me was whatever and whomever I had to let go or eliminate from my life in order to move positively deeper into what matters to me. And that was and still living in purpose, achieving meaningfulness, focusing on healthy attachments, and living my life the way I see fit. And I think Roy Disney said it here best. It's not hard to make decisions when you know what your values are. The following step was to improve the quality of my actions. Will Durant said, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit." So my goal was to develop great habits through small actions, micro routines, so to speak. And in doing so, I hope to maximize the quality of my life in a way that would benefit myself mostly and those I care about. So I started asking myself a new question here. If I could set my life up to a point I want to live at, what would it be like? Consequently, I then started to plan for actions and thoughts that would make each day as best as I wanted to experience. This involved ruthlessly and willingly going through every aspect of my life, making tiny or major adjustments where needed, including my mental health, well-being, personality, knowledge, diet, sleep, relationships, environment, career, exercise, etc. Focusing only over whatever and whomever that provided me with the experience of purpose, meaning, and joy, and not upon what didn't bring me productivity, joy, and meaning to my life. And finally, the last step was to examine my fears. We have to admit that most of what we want lies where the least we wish to look. Almost everything I needed was embedded in everything I was afraid of. This stage was about stripping what I feared in order to move on, and to reintegrate these repressed parts of myself into the remainder of my personality. This involved a conscious effort not to divert my path out of fear. In other words, if something emerges that frightens me and would compromise my journey forward, then I shouldn't avoid it. The key was and is still not to be subjugated to fear, but to break the fear, past, present, and future, and examining it deliberately and honestly, because this way we will grow and move ahead in life. All of that happened by asking myself, what am I afraid of? What am I avoiding? And what am I failing to develop? And at the end, I can say confidently that these steps have been invaluable on my journey on answering who I really am. They've been a source of comfort and relief, a point on the map for me when I was feeling wayward and missing. My hope is that they become efficiently yours too. You see, the self is a collection of colorful and pale, ephemeral and lasting experiences. The only thing we can do is to live through the changes as truthfully as we can to our values, needs, and what we deeply wish to acquire, so that we can be extremely proud of who we are without being haunted by regrets as the time goes by. This is it for today's video. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed it and want to hear from me again, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on your post notification bell so you never miss any video. And down there in the comment section, please feel free to comment your opinion about this video and I'll be happy to reply back. So thank you so much and I'll see you next time.